Shalom, I'm Moreh Matan, and welcome to this week's Moreh Minute. This week our Torah portion is called Vayeshev, and I want to give you a fun memory tool this week. So I'm going to give you what's known as a mnemonic. A mnemonic is a memory device that uses letters to help you remember something. I want to give you a memory tool today. A pastor friend of mine from Fort Wayne, Indiana, developed this, and it's a little silly, but that's why it helps you remember it. So what I'd like to do is to give you a tool to remember all of Jacob's 12 sons in their birth order with a silly little sentence. And here it is. Reuben's stretch Levi jeans did not give, and instead zipper just broke. I know it's a little silly, but it'll stick in your head. Reuben's stretch Levi jeans did not give, and instead zipper just broke. What in the world can that mean? Well, each of those words, Reuben's stretch Levi jeans, each of those words, the first letter of each of the words is the first letter in the birth order of all of Jacob's 12 sons. So let's go in order. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. If you remember the sentence, Reuben's stretch Levi jeans did not give and instead zipper just broke, you will remember all of them in their birth order. Why in the world was Joseph given that multicolored coat? Why was he given special treatment? He was the next to last born, so why was he treated so special? We have to realize that in Jacob's eyes, Joseph is the firstborn. So remember who Jacob really wanted to marry. He wanted to marry Rachel, but Laban, switched out the sisters so that he really married her older sister, Leah, because he said it's our tradition that the oldest marries first. He was deceived. It's interesting that the deceiver, Jacob, was deceived, and we could go into that, but we don't have time today. He ends up marrying Leah. He works another 7 years in order to get Rachel. I mean, he gets her a little while later, but he works 7 more years. So 14 years he works for his father-in-law to get the woman he really loved. But there's a problem. In the soap opera of this story, the one that he really loved couldn't bear children. So Leah, who is not the one that he wanted to marry, she begins to have children, and she has the first 4 sons. Well, Rachel is not able to have children, and so she says, what I will do is allow you to also marry my handmaiden, and you can have children with her. And so Jacob does, and the next 2 are born to this handmaiden of Rachel's. But then it's interesting because now all of a sudden Leah isn't getting pregnant anymore. So she thinks 2 could play at this game. So she has her handmaiden also be another wife for Jacob, and the next 2 sons are born to Leah's handmaiden. After all of this that happens, Leah is all of a sudden able to get pregnant again, and she has 2 more, and then the last 2 are Rachel's. Rachel finally is able to have children, and so Joseph and Benjamin are hers. So as far as Jacob is concerned, even though he's had 10 other sons, the firstborn, in his mind, is Joseph. It's the firstborn of the woman he really loves, and so he gives him such special treatment. And we could make an argument of whether he should or shouldn't have done that to show this favoritism and whether that was a good idea. We also could talk about whether Joseph should have let his brothers know about these visions that God gave him, that they would bow down to him. There are many other things that we could get into. But it's interesting for us to chart out the birth order of these 12 sons and the mothers of each one. This seems like, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like a soap opera, and in a lot of ways it is. The Bible, the Torah especially, is full of stories that if they weren't true. We would think that they were made by some Hollywood movie writer or something. It's going to get, though, even more interesting the more that we look at the life of Joseph. And the more we look into this, the more we're going to understand that Joseph is a picture of the Messiah. Thank you once again for joining me here. Please hit like and subscribe. Hit that bell so that you can get notifications. We here at Ahavat Ammi Ministries and Kosher Pastor and Yeshivat Shuvu have new content all the time, and we want you to be a part of it, and we don't want you to miss it. Always remember, you can go to kosherpastor.com or shuvu.tv if you'd like to learn with us. We have a multi-year learning program, a yeshiva called Shuvu. Coming soon, we will be able to give graduate degrees that are fully accredited. It's really exciting. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week. Shalom and Kol Tuv.